Chapter 14.3.1 Prejudice. What is prejudice? Prejudice means prejudgment. It is an unjustifiable and usually negative attitude toward a group, often a different cultural, ethnic, or gender group. Like all attitudes, prejudice is a mixture of beliefs, in this case called stereotypes, emotions, hostility, envy, or fear, and predispositions to action, to discriminate. To believe that obese people are gluttonous, to feel dislike for an obese person, and to be hesitant to hire or date an obese person is to be prejudiced. Prejudice is a negative attitude. Discrimination is a negative behavior. How prejudiced are people? To learn about levels of prejudice, we can assess what people say and what they do. Judging by what Americans say, gender and racial attitudes have changed dramatically in the last half-century. The one-third of Americans who in 1937 told Gallup they would vote for a qualified woman whom their party nominated for president soared to 89% in 2007. Support for all forms of racial contact, including interracial marriage, figure 14.6, has also dramatically increased. Nearly everyone agrees that children of all races should attend the same schools and that women and men should receive the same pay for the same job. Yet as overt prejudice wanes, subtle prejudice lingers. Despite increased verbal support for interracial marriage, many people admit that in socially intimate settings, dating, dancing, marrying, they would feel uncomfortable with someone of another race. And in Western Europe, where many guest workers and refugees settled at the end of the 20th century, modern prejudice, rejecting immigrant minorities as job applicants for supposedly non-racial reasons, has been replacing blatant prejudice. Jackson et al., 2001, Lester, 2004, Pettigrew, 1998, and 2006. A slew of recent experiments illustrates that prejudice can be not only subtle, but also automatic and unconscious. See close-up, automatic prejudice below. Unhappily, the world has yet to learn how to live with diversity. Pope John Paul II, Address to the United Nations, 1995. Nevertheless, overt prejudice still surfaces in public settings. In several U.S. states where black motorists are a minority of the drivers and speeders on interstate highways, they have been the majority of those stopped and searched by state police. Lamberth, 1998, Staples, 1999, A and B. In the Los Angeles area, 1,115 landlords received identically worded emails from a would-be tenant, actually a researcher, expressing interest in vacant apartments advertised online. Encouraging replies came back to 56% of notes signed Tyrell Jackson, to 66% signed Saeed Al-Rahman, and to 89% of those signed Patrick McDougal. Carpusser and Lodges, 2006. In the aftermath of 9/11 and the Iraq War, 4 in 10 Americans acknowledge some feelings of prejudice against Muslims, and about half of non-Muslims in Western Europe and the United States perceive Muslims as violent. Saad, 2006, Weick and Grimm, 2007. Muslims reciprocated the negativity, with most in Jordan, Egypt, Turkey, and Britain seeing Westerners as greedy and immoral. In most places in the world, gays and lesbians cannot comfortably acknowledge who they are and whom they love. Gender prejudice and discrimination persist too. Despite gender equality in intelligence scores, people tend to perceive their fathers as more intelligent than their mothers. Furnham and Rawls, 1995. In Saudi Arabia, women are not allowed to drive. In Western countries, we pay more to those, usually men, who drive machines that take care of our streets than to those, usually women, who take care of our children. Worldwide, women are more likely to live in poverty, Lips, 1999, and their 69% literacy rate is well below men's 83%, PRB, 2002. Female infants are no longer left out on a hillside to die of exposure, as was the practice in ancient Greece. Yet even today, boys are often valued more than their sisters. With testing that enables self-selective abortions, several South Asian countries, including certain regions of China and India, have experienced a shortfall in female births. natural female mortality, and the normal male-to-female newborn ratio, 105 to 100, hardly explain the world's estimated 101 million, say that number slowly, missing women. Sen, 2003. In 2005, China's newborn sex ratio reportedly reached 118 boys for every 100 girls. AP 2007. With demographic predictions of 40 million Chinese bachelors unable to find mates, China has declared that sex-selective abortions, gender genocide, are now a criminal offense. Close-up, automatic prejudice. As we have seen throughout this book, we process information on two levels, conscious and unconscious. To some extent, our thinking, our memories, and our attitudes are explicit on the radar screen of our awareness. And to an even greater extent, today's researchers believe they are implicit, below the radar, out of sight. Modern studies of implicit, automatic attitudes indicate that prejudice is often more of an unthinking knee-jerk response than a decision. Consider these findings on U.S. racial prejudice. Implicit racial associations. Asked to tap keys to associate words and images, people more quickly associate positive words such as happy or peace with positive objects such as flowers, and negative words such as rotten or ugly with insects. Extending these implicit association tests, Anthony Greenwald and his colleagues in 1998 showed that even people who deny harboring racial prejudice may carry negative associations. For example, 9 in 10 white respondents took longer to identify pleasant words such as peace and paradise as good when presented with black-sounding names such as Letitia and Darnell, rather than white-sounding names such as Katie and Ian. Moreover, people who more quickly associated good things with white names or faces also are the quickest to perceive anger and apparent threat in black faces. Hugenberg and Bodenhausen, 2003. By 2008, more than 6 million people had taken the implicit association test, as you can at www.implicit.harvard.edu. Unconscious patronization, Kent Harbor, 1998. Asked white university women to evaluate a flawed essay said to be written by a black or a white fellow student. When they believed the writer was black, the women gave markedly higher ratings and never expressed the harsh criticism they assigned to white-authored essays, such as, "When I read college work this bad, I just want to lay my head down on the table and cry." Did the evaluators calibrate their evaluations to their racial stereotypes, Harbor wondered, leading them to patronize the black writers with less exacting standards? If used in real-world evaluations, such low expectations and the resulting inflated praise and insufficient criticism could hinder minority student achievement. To preclude such bias, many teachers read essays while blind to their authors. Race-influenced perceptions. 2 research teams were interested in the shooting of an unarmed man in the doorway of his Bronx apartment building by officers who mistook his wallet for a gun. Each research team reenacted the situation with a video, asking viewers to press buttons quickly to shoot or not shoot men who suddenly appeared on screen holding either a gun or a harmless object such as a flashlight or bottle. Carell et al., 2002, 2007, Greenwald et al., 2003. People, both blacks and whites in one of the studies, more oftenly mistakenly shot targets who were black. Priming people with a flash black rather than white face also makes them more likely then to misperceive a flash tool as a gun. There are still barriers and biases out there, often unconscious. Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton, 2008 U.S. presidential primary concession speech.